Hello, I am Endlessness and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and in this video I'd like to give you a guide for Trial of Bahamut Summon EX3 battle. Bahamut EX3 has no elemental weakness but no resistances either, meaning that you can use non-elemental DPS but also any element you want. However, you'll need to debuff Bahamut's both physical and magic attack, as well as bring attack and defensive buffs, as he'll keep debuffing you. And you also need a tank with Provoke and Veil and high physical defense to tank Bahamut's single target physical hits, but your whole team needs high magic defense stats and buffs to survive Mega Flare. And there'll also be a Diamond Sigil phase, so ideally you want to have a Diamond Sigil to comfortably break it, but it's doable without it, especially now with Overspeed. However, just before the Sigil phase begins, Bahamut will do an Umbral Gaze attack, and you need tank with Provoke active and also being protected by Veil, otherwise this attack will incapacitate one of your characters for quite a long time. I've done a Bahamut guide with non-elemental Sephiroth as DPS, as it was the only way that was possible for me to clear this battle, but now we have Matt with Matmura, so my physical teams aren't suffering so much anymore. So here's a second guide for a physical team, and I also think it has a very good synergy for Bahamut. And I have Cloud as DPS, but if you have Cloud's half-year anniversary gear, you could use him as Ice DPS and you'll do much more damage with it, as his Ice gear is his strongest physical gear so far. And Matt is the MVP with Matmura healing and providing physical attack and magic defense buffs, but he also has a Diamond Sigil to make the Sigil phase much easier, and Angia has Provoke and Veil on his Tranquility and also buffs physical defense. And I also have Gigantic Shield on Matt and Adastra and Angio to make it easier to survive, but Adastra is crucial to survive the second Mega Flare. But wait, there's more, because their ultimate weapons have also a very good synergy. Cloud's Buster can debuff both attack types with high potency, so you could use it instead of Mystic Sword to save AB. Matt's ultimate can nullify defensive debuffs, so you could cast it before the second Mega Flare. And Angel's ultimate weapon can also buff both defenses with mid potency. So in case of emergency, you have multiple free saves that can make your run easy or even save your run. And both Matt's limit breaks can be useful to either nullify attack buffs or buff your defenses. But if you have his Banner ultimate weapon that applies haste, you could cast it during countdowns to break that gauge much faster and prolong the time before you get hit by Mega Flare. And lastly, my Cloud has maxed out Overspeed, while Matt and Angia have level 4 Overspeed. Matt has Dark Knight outfit with Gigantic Shield, Dear Players for heals and buffs, Nautilus to break Diamond Sigil, and also has a heal stat stick, normal ultimate weapon and 2 defensive stat sticks and a Cura for single target heals, and then sub-equipment slots, Tarot for HP, and 2 guild weapons with magic defense for allies. Angio has Odin outfit with Adastra, Tranquility for Provoke and Veil, Store Integrity to buff physical defense, ultimate weapon, Breach to debuff physical defense, and 2 stat sticks, and also if you want you could put Cura here for emergency small heals, and then sub-equipment slots, Odin with physical defense and also attack for allies, Fafnir with HP and physical defense, and a guild weapon with physical defense for allies. Cloud has Fire Arcanum outfit with Hellfire, Sky Splitter for DPS, Mystic Sword to debuff attack, ultimate weapon, 3 stat sticks with physical attack and magic defense, and in sub-equipment slots, Gargantuan Molotov with HP and magic defense, Crystal Sword to buff his fire potency, and a weapon to max out his physical attack and boost his physical ability potency. However, if Cloud's magic defense is below 300, you'll need Mat Minute here instead. Alright, here at the beginning of the battle, just wait until you get 5 AB, because that's when Bahamut debuffs you and buffs itself. So now just start nullifying that magic defense debuff, but with Cloud just do it once, that magic attack debuff, and wait till 7 AB, and now just fully debuff. But the reason why is I wanted to prolong the time before I debuff it, so I extend the time so those debuffs are still active before that second attack hits us. But with Angeal it doesn't matter, just don't use this provoke yet, because it'll expire when you need it. Now first heal, and because Mat Mora it works a little bit different, so it's 4 AB per heal. It's smaller, but you can do it twice here. And it'll be fine. It'll be close, but fine. Still fine. Yes, it's close, but we're good. And also here, try to time it with your healer and DPS so that you don't waste AB, but you get that attack buff already active before that attack connects with Bahamut. And also on Cloud you can use overspeed to do a little bit more damage here. I'm just not using it just in case, but when you're already getting close to depleting that gauge, do provoke. And also my magic defense buff is expiring, so I have to refresh it, but here wait. Here, Umbral and Gaze, switch to defense. My Tranquility is very low overboosted, so Veil is not big, so I have to switch to defense, otherwise Veil breaks. But here, Sigil Face with Mat is incredibly easy. Just do Nautilus attacks and you can just continue doing DPS with Cloud. Just one more attack. And also Nautilus attack is very fast, so you don't have to worry about anything. But here you can already pre-cast physical defense buff, because after this Angeal will get targeted. And I am not going to cast those summons and limit breaks yet. Right, one more attack and we'll have to debuff physical attack here. And here you have to choose with Angeal if you want to Veil or buff physical defense, because those two tail attacks that are coming before this dive bomb, so you have enough time to buff your defenses or Veil, but ideally you have both. Alright, so breach and overspeed, but also if you use overspeed on the first countdown, you'll easily get it by the time this countdown comes, so don't worry, you can use it on every countdown. Alright, let's activate overspeed here, because I want to get Angeal's limit break ready for when Mega Flare hits us, and it will hit. And Flare Breath, the first attack, it won't debuff our magic defense because everyone is protected by Veil. And Umbral Strikes, you can debuff magic attack here, but with Angeal it's easy to survive and then heal, so I wouldn't really waste AB on that. You can easily heal that, but every bit of damage matters here. And also pay attention, always pay attention, so you have provoke active. If it expires, just reapply it. But here, Umbral Inferno, just make sure that magic defense buff is active and that Bahamut is debuffed. And now the same thing, we have to nullify that physical attack debuff, and well, Mega Flare is coming. But don't worry about it, we'll have triple summon ready here. But it's the same thing as the beginning of the battle, just nullify that magic attack debuff, buff and debuff it, but also make sure that your magic defense is buffed to +1. I'm not going to buff it further, because we have Gigantic Shield, and you could also use Angeal's ultimate weapon ability. So there are many ways to save AB, and I didn't have to use Matt's AB, so I can immediately start recovering. But also Ad Astra is crucial here, because Cloud will not survive without Veil this attack. Alright, and start recovering, but also here. Angel will get hit, so make sure that before Mega Flare hits you, your provoke is active. And first is Umbral Frenzy, that's fine. Very easy, but after this there will be a second dive bomb. Alright, just debuff physical attack. Physical defense is buffed, and we are good. And now it depends on Cloud's HP, because Mystic Sword debuffs physical attack only when Cloud is above 70% HP, but you always have Buster Sword to debuff it further. But Dive Bomb always has those two tail flails. And you can keep switching to defense to make sure that we don't lose too much HP. But after this attack you are free to recover, because we'll get another countdown, a fresh one, so it will start with 5. Alright, Breach, and with Angel I would recommend always try to keep Breach active to get that little bit extra attack damage here. But also, it doesn't matter when you deplete that gauge. Right now we are closing to a DPS race, because we will not be able to refresh the countdown anymore. So whenever you stop, and also here, be ready for Umbral Gaze. If Bahamut has less HP, if it's closer to H on his name, on the HP bar, he will skip that and he won't attack you anymore. But because I haven't done enough DPS overall, we get that extra Umbral Frenzy attack. So the same thing, just make sure that your physical defense is buffed, physical attack is debuffed, and you'll be fine. Actually, I'm just going to use this here. And you wouldn't die, and if you have Odin outfit, you have 1 extra life, so you wouldn't even have to debuff and buff to survive, because at this point it doesn't matter, you just want to do everything you can to damage Bahamut. But with Veil and all those button debuffs, Angel is fine. Alright, now it's just a countdown DPS race. So try to do as much damage as you can with everything. And you don't have to debuff physical attack at this point, it doesn't matter. Alright. And also, here just make sure that your buffs, your physical attack buff is active, and whenever breach expires, just refresh it. But we already got one, so now Bahamut will buff himself, and he nullified physical attack buff. So if you want, refresh it, breach and everything to finish him off, because this Mega Flare will insta-kill you. Unless you have Reprieve, then it's fine, because with Reprieve you survived once, and then it breaks and you wouldn't survive anymore, but that's the whole battle. And yes, Cloud's weapons, they are not up to date, they are outdated, but it's still very much possible. But I definitely think you might want to have some progress on his overspeed. But I also think Mystic Sword is a great debuffing weapon, and this battle is a very good battle for it, because it just one cast 3 AB and you can use so much more AB to just focus on DPSing the boss. But yeah, that would be the whole guide. So I hope you found it helpful. Also good luck on your own clear, and in the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next one.